the Ohio title in Alexander. Newswatch starts right now. You can now head to the polls if you want to vote in the general election. Good evening, I'm Haley Hollinger and welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting Southeast Ohio. Early voting is now open for the November 7th general election in Ohio. Early voting allows registered voters to cast an early in-person ballot at their county board of elections. One is one of the 12 states that allow at least 29 days of early voting. When Ohioans head over to the polls to vote, they will be making their voices heard on two statewide amendment-related issues. Issue 1 and Issue 2 are expected to increase voter turnout. The League of Women Voters of Athens County hosted the Nelsonville City Council candidates for a forum. Tony Dunphy, Doug Childs, Dan Sherman, and Rita Wynn were the candidates in attendance at last night's forum. 6 questions were asked throughout the evening, and the candidates agreed on all of them. Rental upkeep and annexing were the most intense topics of discussion. All candidates on the board agreed rental property upkeep is an issue in the city. They also echoed the need for rental code revisions and better enforcement of the code. A new measure brought by state lawmakers could shield Ohioans from abiding by federal gun regulations. Brought forward yesterday, House Bill 51 would make Ohio a sanctuary state where local law enforcement discouraged from enforcing federal gun statutes seen in violation of the Second Amendment. The bill got changes in committee, which Representative DJ Swearingen says loosened some restrictions on local police, such as when they serve on an interagency task force. Speaker Jason Stevens says the purpose of the bill is to make sure Ohioans are under Ohio's gun laws. Opponents say they're concerned about public safety if this bill passes.
And for weather here in Athens, you could see over those last 24 hours, we even dipped into those low 30s here in Athens. But once that sun came up, we saw temperatures that are very pleasurable here. We are in those mid to high 60s for most of the day. Looking at those temperatures right now throughout our region, you can see as we go more north in the Columbus, Newark area, they're hitting at about 69. And the more north we go, Parkersburg, Charleston, Huntington, they are in those mid to lower 60s. We've been through those 60s for most of the day. Once that sun came up, we've been in those 60-degree temperatures. Currently in Athens, 64 degrees, those mostly cloudy skies. We've been experiencing those mostly cloudy skies throughout the day today, and they're just continuing as the night goes on. 64 degrees. We're not too humid right now. We're at about 34%. It is on the drier side just because of that high pressure that is sitting in our area. It is making it very dry, very pleasurable for our day here today with those mostly cloudy skies, that temperature high of 68, and that temperature low that we'll be experiencing later in the day at 46 degrees. You can see that in that regional radar, we've been generally clear here in Ohio, not really any chance of precipitation, but we are seeing this system growing in the Midwest, and that will be affecting us this weekend, but we will have some calm before the storm. We'll be having those warmer temperatures. I'll be getting into that in my full weather. Let's take it back to Holly.
Thanks. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is making it easier for Ohio schools to serve free meals through the Community Eligibility Provision Program. Schools with enough low-income students are eligible to serve free meals, with the federal government picking up part of the cost. The threshold to qualify is now 25% of students compared to the previous requirement of 40%. School Nutrition Association's Diane Pratt Heavner says even if a school is eligible to apply, they wouldn't make financial sense for cost to enroll. Advocates say Congress would have to pass legislation to increase meal reimbursement rates. An estimated 8,000 immigrants are making a new home in Ohio. The people from the West African country Mauritania are fleeing ethnic violence and discrimination. Now advocates and politicians are pushing for legal protections for the migrants. Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, is a federal designation that recognizes a country as unsafe to return to. If granted, it would pause deportations and authorize migrants to work right when they arrive. Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown and Republican Representative Mike Carey have both urged the Biden administration to grant them TPS. There's been no movement yet. Washington State Community College is getting over $2 million from the U.S. Department of Education to update their programs and curriculum. The funds will be distributed over the next 5 years to create new in-demand academic programs, update curriculum to align with industry needs, and expand workforce and career services to build upon the success of their guided career pathways work. The money from the Strengthening Institutions Program, or SIP, helps institutions of higher education expand their capacity to serve low-income students. Still ahead, House Republicans announced their pick for Speaker. And more on 22 Americans killed in Israel.
And for weather, we'll be getting those higher temperatures these next couple of days, but does that mean that the rain is out of our area? We'll be looking at a colder weekend this weekend when Newswatch returns.
My people in the Buffalo have a shared history together.
The buffalo was sacred, and they could not imagine existence without the buffalo.
They were put on this earth to help us survive.
To think that our greed and our industrialization would blink this thing out.
This is the buffalo's last chance.
They've survived, we've survived, we both persisted.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of stock is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
Often referred to in the history books in the past tense. But here we are in the present, and we're going full force.
Native women are strong and resilient.
My people in the Buffalo have a shared history.
She's a warrior.
It's about representing ourselves in the way we see ourselves.
We're scientists, we're engineers, we're doctors. We're doing things to make a difference in this world.
I have memories of my real family.
My daughter!
I'm going to look for them. I think I might be from here. What do you remember?
The government was taking Indian kids. You can't just pretend that nothing happened. It was wrong! Can you tell me the truth?
House Republicans picked their nominee for House Speaker. They've selected House Majority Leader Steve Scalise during a closed-door meeting this afternoon. 113 House Republicans voted to send Scalise's nomination to the House floor, where he will need to secure 217 votes. Scalise and House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan were vying for the position. With the Republicans' thin majority, Scalise will need the support of almost all GOP members.
First, I want to thank my House Republican colleagues for just designating me as the Speaker. Obviously, we still have work to do. We're going to have to go upstairs on the House floor and resolve this and then get the House opened again.
Supplemental aid to Israel and funding the federal government beyond November 17th will be immediate top priorities for the new Speaker. 22 Americans have lost their lives in Israel. The State Department is expecting the death toll to climb higher. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke to President Joe Biden for the fourth time today since Hamas first attacked Israel this past Saturday. With each passing hour, the fate of hostages held by Hamas will become more grim. Laura Aguirre has the latest, and we must warn you, there are details and images that some viewers may find disturbing.
My commitment to Israel's security and the safety of the Jewish people is unshakable.
A commitment made stronger as escalating reports of atrocities against civilians in Israel emerge.
We've never seen such savagery in the history of the state.
And they're even worse than ISIS.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sharing that comparison with President Joe Biden in a call Tuesday. In the hours since, new discoveries of Hamas's brutality have come to light.
Murdering civilians, children, women, dragging a Holocaust survivor in a wheelchair across the border.
Israeli officials say that in at least one village, infants and toddlers were found decapitated, claims that Hamas denies.
These images and the depravity of Hamas has got to be addressed. They've got to be neutralized.
The reports worsening the fears of those who have loved ones being held hostage by the militant group.
This is a very crucial moment. We have no time to think about the dead.
It is Hamas that needs to listen very, very carefully, because if they want to come out in any way or form of this conflict alive, they need to release those people immediately.
For now, Israel is amassing troops and preparing for a ground offensive in Gaza.
The ramifications of this strategic attack against Israel is a game changer, and we need to change the rules of this game.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Laura Aguirre.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, along with his current defense minister and former Israeli defense minister Benny Gantz, have formed a special war government to deal specifically with the ongoing attacks from Hamas. A joint Netanyahu-Gantz statement said the special war government will not pass any laws or make any decisions that do not concern the conduct of the war. Coming back to the Israel war, headlines detailing violence in Israel and Gaza are not dominating social media, the news, and many other conversations. Health experts say the traumatic events can cause a heightened sense of stress and anxiety, especially among children. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more with a therapist on how to talk to kids about what's happening.
The images are scary and heartbreaking. As violence continues in Israel and Gaza, it can all feel overwhelming.
You might have personal connections to it. You might be experiencing some triggers from something from your past. And so it's really important to just be aware of what you're feeling and then let go of any shame or judgment around that.
Licensed therapist Jody Baumstein says for young children who haven't been exposed to accounts of the violence, there's no need to talk to them about it. But for older kids who have heard about or seen violent things, she says to be proactive. Don't wait for them to come to you. Talk to them. It's okay to not have answers to their questions.
Really, that's not what they need. Kids don't need a script. They need you to be in it with them and let them know they're not alone in it.
Baumstein says to let them guide the conversation based on what's on their minds. Then listen and offer ways to cope.
How to kind of check their thoughts and see if it's accurate and it's helpful. And you're teaching them strategies to regulate. So if they're feeling overwhelmed, there are things that they can do to calm their body and calm their mind.
If it all feels too overwhelming, take a break from the exposure to the violence. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Baumstein says to also pay close attention to children's behavior if they're suddenly withdrawing or not engaging in activities or with friends like they used to. That may be a sign they're struggling and a good time to seek help from a healthcare professional. A new report says climate change can strain the mental health of young people. The study from the Echo America and the American Psychiatric Association points to extreme heat, poor air quality, and natural disasters as harmful stressors causing PTSD, anxiety, depression, aggression, and more. According to the researchers, disasters can be harder on young people if they have yet to develop coping skills. We're now joined by forecaster Isabella Isco, who's here to tell us more. Isabella, how do you think that climate change affects us, and do you agree with the study?
I would definitely agree with the study. It's not just the mental health, but it starts to affect your physical health. Just those colder temperatures, it starts to kind of get those fall time blues around, and they do affect your mental health pretty significantly. And for those colder fall time blues, we might be feeling those for a little bit today with those fall-like temperatures today, hitting at that temperature high of 68, and that temperature low that it's going to be hitting us tonight at 46. Those partly cloudy skies are going to be sticking with us for these next few days, just because of this drier conditions, but it is going to be a little bit on the cloudier side. Over the past 24 hours, you could see that this high pressure system has been staying here, been keeping us on the drier side with no really precipitation that's happening, but there is this low pressure system that is building in the Midwest that is going to be giving us some warm temperatures first, and then we're going to be hit with some rain chances going into this weekend. You can see that this is paused right now, that this warm front is going to be starting to affect us going into tonight and tomorrow. That high pressure system is going to kind of move out. This warm front's going to come in, and this low pressure system is going to start building. Going into tomorrow, that's whenever it's going to be hitting us the most with those higher temperatures, that temperature high of 77. It's definitely out of the ordinary for these last few days. It was nice to put that sweater on, but you're going to have to take that off for these next couple days. It's going to feel almost summer-like here in Athens. That temperature low hitting us tomorrow at 46. We're going to have those mostly sunny skies just because of that high pressure sticking around. It's kind of going to be off the coast for a little bit tomorrow, but it is going to still give us those clearer skies. You can see that red line, that's our warm front. That is going to be affecting us going into tomorrow night, and even into Thursday, just giving us those warmer temperatures. And off to the side, you could see that this low pressure system is building going into tomorrow night. You could see that it's building even more. It is going to be slowly moving in, so it's going to have enough time to kind of develop this more intense rain that we're going to be seeing later in our week. But as we're waiting for that, we're going to be pretty clear here. We're going to be feeling on the summer side here, so it is going to have a nice calm before that storm does come in. Looking at Friday, that system's still building, and then we're going to see this cold front. This cold front is going to be hitting us at about the same time that this storm is. So not only are we going to be rainy this weekend, but we're going to be on the chillier side. Looking at that 3-day outlook, once we start getting into those rainy side on Saturday, we're going to see those showers, and we're going to see those temperatures start to drop. On Friday, we're going to be looking warm again, but looking at Saturday, Sunday is whenever we're going to be dropping into the 50s, and we're going to be more fall-like, more seasonal, and definitely more rainy here in Athens. Monday, 55 degrees, Tuesday 56. We're definitely going to have those showers throughout the weekend, and starting our next week, we're going to have to see how that's going to affect us later in the week. Definitely stick with us on Newswatch. Let's go back to Haley.
Thanks, Isabel. The U.S. Supreme Court will not be hearing a case from a former coal executive who argues major news outlets defamed him. Former CEO of Massey Energy, Don Blankenship, claimed the outlets defamed him by calling him a felon. Blankenship served a misdemeanor charge and was found guilty of conspiring to violate safety standards at a West Virginia mine before an explosion in 2010 that killed 29 men. The Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed a district court's determination that CNN, Fox News, and 14 other outlets sued by Blankenship did not act with, quote, actual malice amid coverage of his unsuccessful 2018 U.S. Senate campaign. The Biden administration is announcing new actions to crack down on junk fees. The Federal Trade Commission is proposing a rule to ban businesses from charging hidden and misleading fees. The proposed rule would apply to ticketing services, hotels, car rental companies, and more. The rule would require them to show the full price up front. Junk fees cost American families tens of billions of dollars every year, and this rule could save consumers up to $9 billion annually. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says it will take steps to prohibit banks and credit unions from charging consumers who want to check account balances. Utah is suing TikTok for allegedly violating the state's consumer protection law. In the lawsuit filed Tuesday, the complaint accuses TikTok of baiting children into unsafe activity through its use of alleged addictive features. The platform has frequently come under fire in recent years that its foreign owners represent a national security threat and that its technology is harmful to young people's mental health.
Coming up in sports, Nelsonville York clinches a second straight TVC Ohio title, and that story's still ahead. And for the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
I just said, hey, I want to do what I've been doing in my life and record it.
We were always those creative minds that were just in the moment.
It all finds its way into his music.
Who he is as a person is what allows him to be where he is as a musician.
And I felt like black radio was the truth.
Friday at 10 on WOUB.
This is for you.
You got grit, I can tell you're never gonna quit. No, not even for a split second. Counting all your blessings. You got personality like Christmas got his presents, and I like it. Yeah.
I always want to create something that's gonna mean something.
That's fabulous. And I like it. Yeah.
Dare me to do something.
Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing. I like it. Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing.
I really want to show the world how beautiful our culture is.
There was more similarities than differences.
It makes us happy. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. So spread those golden wings. We're gonna shine like the stars. Got the
It is part of our unique story. All of us together.
This is our special time.
I like it.
Salute, babe.
Honey, gotta do your thing.
We're going intergalactic.
Don't stop, honey.
We're gonna make memories.
I like it. Follow your joy. I'm not a toy. I got heart.
Saturday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back. I'm Zach Mothersbaugh. After beating the Bulldogs in 4 straight sets last Friday, the Alexander Spartans girls volleyball team were looking to win a share of the TVC Ohio title. And standing in their way, a dominant Nelsonville York Buckeyes team looking to clinch the title. The Spartans started out hot with a 27-25 win in set 1, but that was really where their success stopped. The Buckeyes took over after that, winning the next 3 sets to clinch their second straight TVC Ohio title. Nelsonville York would take the 3 seed and play the winner of Cole Grove versus Piketon.
Alexander's a great team, and we knew we had our work cut out for us. It was between us and them last year again. So in order for us to win it tonight and take care of business like we did, we felt really good. And back-to-back championships is great, and hopefully we can run it back again next season.
Now, in Ohio sports, the soccer team hosts Central Michigan tomorrow. Both teams are looking to turn it around over halfway into the season, as neither squad has been able to secure a win so far in October. The Bobcats specifically have had trouble at home. They have 2 wins on the season at Chesapeake, but they both came in late August. Ohio is now looking to give the home crowd something to cheer about against Central. The match will take place tomorrow at 4 p.m. Now, unfortunately, we've had trouble with the standings. However, I can tell you the Bobcats sit in 8th place in the MAC. But just the top 6 teams in the MAC make the conference tournament. However, Ohio is only 1 game behind the 6th place Huskies with 5 games left to play. And the good news for the Bobcats is that 4 of their last 5 games are against bottom 4 teams in the conference, with the other being against 2nd place Ball State. And finally, Ohio football finds themselves facing off against a running back who is on a rampage in the Mid-American Conference. After tallying just a game high of 61 rushing yards in out-of-conference play, Northern Illinois Ontario Brown has found his footing in the last 2 games. Brown has a total of 432 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 2 MAC games, and most of that production came last week against Akron. Now, Coach Tim Albin and the Bobcat defense will have to find a way to at least slow him down.
We're going to have to continue to be strong and limit the running game. There's no way you're going to shut these guys down. It's going to be a huge challenge. The communication piece, hold your gaps, tackle well, and continue to run to the football and gang tackle.
Yeah, so that should be exciting.
Absolutely, Haley. Now, this Northern Illinois team, their record doesn't quite show how good they are. It's going to be a test in Athens, but as we know, the Bobcats just don't lose on the Frank.
Oh, yeah. The momentum they have right now is fantastic, and me, along with everybody else, is screaming, rank Ohio.
Absolutely. I can hear it all over Athens.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Zach. And coming up after the break, a Marine veteran travels across 17 states on his horse. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I don't understand why you've come back.
To make us a fortune.
Welcome! Mommy, this is Victor, my fiancé. Oh, he's got himself embroiled with a gangster.
I have to follow my heart. I can't go back to how it was before.
Stay away from my wife.
How can I trust you?
I could ask you the same thing.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
Remember? First impressions. This just is the beginning to a change in fortunes.
I'm awake. I feel like I've opened my eyes. The world is changing.
I think we should take it to the next level.
I thought that was rather jolly. So much fun.
You make a good team. And what will you tell the child when they ask where their dad is?
There's a war. I'll tell them you're dead.
If we can find him, we'll get him.
I'm here to make sure justice gets done.
I really love you more than anything.
It's really loud.
Shall we?
Fortune favors the bold.
It feels more like the start of something than the end.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
If something bad were to happen to me, I just need him to keep Morgan safe.
Are you okay?
Yes. We got the body and a witness. Him! Go on the target!
Family touches a nerve.
Must have known it'd lead to this. People always return to the scene of the crime.
Annika on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 10 on WOUB.
Finally tonight, a Marine veteran has just completed a cross-country horseback journey, all for a good cause. Matt Perella left Camp Pendleton in California in April and arrived in Camp Lejeune in North Carolina yesterday. He completed the nearly 7,000-mile journey across 17 states on the back of his horse, Buck. Perella says it was done to raise awareness for veterans suffering from PTSD. He ended his 5 years of service in the Marines in 2004. The former Marine has founded the Righteous Life Rescue Ranch to help other vets facing the same challenges.
And a last look at weather tonight. We're going to have that overnight low of 46, those partly cloudy skies. Once we start looking at tomorrow, you can see that warm front coming in. It's not going to giving us rain quite yet, not until about Saturday. We're going to see that rain, but we're going to see those warmer temperatures in those mostly sunny skies with that temperature high tomorrow of 77. Looking at that 3-day, we're going to have those high 70s for the next couple of days. And once that rain starts coming in, we're going to have those cooler temperatures looking at Sunday in the 50s, Monday 56, and we're going to be having that kind of cool before the storm, and it's going to be pretty seasonal here next week.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Isabel Isco and Zach Mothersbaugh, I'm Haley Hollinger. Make sure you stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support for PBS NewsHour is proudly provided by Luke S. Frazier.